it's Halloween, and we're so happy that you could be here for another edition of Extra Point. Where's Georgie?
Beginning to seem a lot like Halloween around here, I guess. But let me tell you something, no clown is going to spook me. That's right. Try jumping into the cockpit of an F-18, breaking the sound barrier at 770 miles per hour, while at the same time having a bogey on your back trying to blow you out of the sky. That's enough to blow out anyone's britches. You hear me? All right, I'm Colonel Pete Mitcher, call sign Maverick. Sir, yes, sir. Welcome to State Champs Extra Point. This is Sydney, and look who is stepping in today because Devin Gardner could not be here. It is the man, the myth, Scott Burnstein.
Pinch hitting.
Oh, yeah. Calling from the bullpen. I got to say, I like this costume better than the last one. Last one, I think I speak for everyone. It was scary. You did good.
Pennywise has been scaring me since the 90s when I saw the original It with Tim Curry playing. Exactly. That's a throwback for you youngsters.
If you came in there today with this, I was going to have to throw a flag on you with that one because you two behave. Otherwise, flags will be thrown this episode.
Yeah, this is much cooler. I agree.
Oh my gosh, let's get this going.
Let's go. All right, guys. So first thing we do is, of course, our takeaway sponsored by Feiger Law. And, we'll start with Scott over here. We had a big game. Belleville beating Brighton 42-3.
Yeah, you know what? I've been really big on Brighton since about, week 3 or 4. I love what this Team Lemons group is doing. Colin McKernan's come in at quarterback and has really, and Grant Heatherton did a great job in his stead. And Jack Story, our Anvil candidate leading the push up front. I thought they were going to play Belleville a little bit closer. I didn't expect them to win. I don't think I expected a 40-point game, but it really just speaks to what a well-oiled machine Belleville is right now. Bryce Underwood is as a sophomore, he's playing like he's a senior in college, let alone a sophomore in high school. He is, the definition of a phenom, and we've had a number of them come through here. Come through this area. We have one that's still Dante Moore at King and is heading to Oregon. So, Bryce Underwood is doing what Bryce Underwood does, and just a great win by Belleville to start their to kick off their playoff push or get ready for their playoff push.
And Bryce is young, but I liked his interview at the end of the game because he was asked, what's the mentality moving forward? Like you said, it's a playoff push now. Plain and simple, straight to the point. He goes, finish. That's all I want to do, finish.
And on the defense, Jeremiah Beasley, I've been shouting his praises since last year. He's a junior, and he is just beast mode, 24/7, sideline to sideline, leading that defense. So.
Yeah. Well, Lorne, flying over to you now, huh? Yeah. You like that? Maverick, we had a big one downriver. What do you got for this takeaway?
We did, Sydney. We did. It was really big. It's always great when a division title comes down to a matchup in the final regular season game, and we do get to see this quite frequently in the Downriver League, which is always cool. And that's what we had between Gibraltar, Carlson, and Woodhaven. Coming into the game, Woodhaven is factored into at least a share of the Downriver title for each of the last 4 seasons. Carlson has earned a share in each of the last 3 seasons, including last year when it beat Woodhaven in Week 9 to split the title 3 ways with Allen Park as well. So let me just say to both programs, that's getting it done, son. Every year when you can be consistently competing for your league title, and this is, again, even dealing with a pandemic a couple of years ago, they've stayed consistent, all the programs, or both those programs, so that's impressive. Now, Carlson needed a win to clinch a share of the 22 title with Trenton. They beat Woodhaven 38-18. This was the 22nd meeting overall between Woodhaven and Carlson, just the second time that the Marauders have won consecutive games over Woodhaven in back-to-back years. The last coming was 1998. So
we were seeing some really good football downriver. Really impressed by what we got going downriver. And, just to add one thing to what you said, Eddie Light, lights out for the second straight year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Line of scrimmage was really the difference for Carlson. But yes, 2 shout-outs. Quarterback Eddie Light threw 4 touchdowns, eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark in passing on the season. Running back Omari Carter, 264 yards and a TD, nearly 1,500 yards on the ground for the season. So Carlson is in a very tough Division III. So they host New Boston Huron on Friday night. That's going to be a tough matchup. But if they can win, they should get Trenton next week for the district title. And Carlson handed Trenton their only loss on the season. So we'll see if they meet for the district championship. Woodhaven is a Division I team, and they've got Belleville.
Yeah,
So,
as we know, Division I is stacked. Anything can happen in this division. But
so what happened at your game?
yeah, so as we know, last week a lot of teams were playing to get into the playoffs. It was must-win games. Every week is must-win, but these were actual must-wins, or you weren't going to see another week. So I was over at Groves and Seaholm. Birmingham Groves needed this win, and they pulled it off.
That's right.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. They pulled it off at the end to get the win 14-7 to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, it was off to a slow start at the beginning. I'm sure you guys both saw it was pretty slow. Groves gets on the board. It's 7. Seaholm comes and ties it up 7-7. That was the score up until under 3 minutes left in the game. Mm-hmm. Finally, Groves pushes it into gear and they score. And, after the game, Groves thought we're going to see Seaholm in week 1 of the playoffs. They were fully prepared. If we have to see this team back to back, we know what we're going to get and we're ready for it. But they're not going to see each other this week. But if they both win, they could see each other in the second round. Yeah. So
I was surprised. I thought Seaholm was a team this year that really had all the momentum.
Well, they started 7-0, and they've lost the last 2.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose to your rivals. So
I got Jim DeWald, one of the best coaches there is in Metro Detroit. Really underrated. Does it all with homegrown kids. He's been doing it that way for 20 years. He was at Pontiac Northern. He was at Andover. Now he's at Seaholm. So I'm confident that he's going to get the ship righted for the playoffs. But hats off to Brendan Flaherty, another master tactician. Yeah. And I don't know if you say underrated. I mean, he's just a great coach. Yeah. And the last 10, 15 years, he's really proved it. Couple Groves teams have been knocking on the door of Ford Field. Really Jimmy DeWald at Seaholm had his team knocking on the door a couple years ago, and they lost to King.
That's right.
I love where Groves is headed. They're trending in the right direction. They're playing big late, peaking at the right time.
Yeah. They were fired after the game, too. And that game-winning touchdown by Jack Weiner, right to me in the end zone. I was, right place, right time.
Great tight end. Weiner, which is kind of a trend in Metro Detroit now. We have a lot of really high-quality hybrid tight ends.
That's going to bring us right into our top 20 rankings presented by Alta Equipment Company. And
our final rankings.
Our final ranking. Can you believe that?
So it's so apropos that we have Bernie himself, the mastermind behind these rankings.
I've been in the kitchen cooking up the stew, all the soup, and all the dinner plate to give us this.
I have been his staunch defender all season. This blame Lauren hashtag.
I just relay on the message.
Yes, exactly. No, you've done a great job. Seriously, we're saying that on air. Fantastic job with the rankings this season.
You want to try to.
There's been a lot of movement.
Yeah, and you want to try to have representation across the state. You don't want it to be too Metro Detroit centered. Right. Kind of with some recency bias because I'm not out looking up at football in the UP. I mean, in person, I'm checking up on them on tape or on the west side of the state. So
and all the descriptions very creative.
Yeah, always.
Love
He's always
awesome.
like that. Yes, exactly. And we talk about Metro Detroit. We go to our top 5. Well, it's Metro Detroit.
Yeah. So in our top 5, like Lauren said, or should I say Maverick? Sorry, I take it back. But
you can call me Pete too.
Oh, okay. All the above. We got
Lieutenant Mitchell.
Ton of nicknames here. Be sure if you see Lauren on the street, you better be sure to call him that. He's not Lauren until November 1st.
Sorry, Maverick.
So number 1, we've got Belleville coming in at 2, De La Salle 3, Rochester Adams 4, West Bloomfield 5, Macomb Dakota, and you can catch the rest on our screen right now. The rest of the top 20 rankings, but
it's a solid 5.
It is a solid 5. But Scott, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the top 5?
Great 5 teams. All 5 teams have a legit chance to be hoisting the trophy at the end of November. I'm a big West Bloomfield fan. That's a town that I grew up in. Yeah. I've watched in real time this program go from a perennial basement dweller to a bona fide national brand. of a football program, and it's a program that coaches from colleges around the country take pilgrimages to try to fill their future rosters. I have some worries about them going into the playoffs. They obviously have a very tough draw. They got Cass Tech in the first round,
which we'll talk about later in the show.
I was almost going to have to flag you.
Well, just talking more in general terms, they've been dealing with an injury bug, but they've been resilient. Rick Nance, Requez Nance, has been out since about midseason. Samaj Morgan, the Michigan-bound wide receiver, Mr. Football candidate, has had to step in. I'm a little bit worried about where they stand right now health-wise.
Well, it's a gauntlet even if you're fully healthy. Division I is going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, anything
all the way through
could happen in this one. But Lorne, before we get more into that, I might have to throw a false start flag on both of you if you get ahead of us here. But before we get rolling on that, Lorne, Muskegon makes our top 20.
You know what? There is, again, we talked about it, it's been a hashtag all season long, blame Lorne. And that's okay, because last week I waxed rhapsodic about Muskegon Mona Shores and where they were. I predicted they will make the state semifinals of Division II. I'm actually still going to, I still stand behind that prediction, but I completely glossed over their week 9 opponent, which was Muskegon. And the Big Reds balled out, dropping 55 on the Sailors. Now, Muskegon is a team that finished 7-2, and after Warren De La Salle really took it to them, they've gotten better every week, the Big Reds. They had just a 2-point loss to a really good Zeeland West team, an 8-1 Zeeland West team now. And honestly, there is a pretty good path for Muskegon actually to maybe get all the way back to Ford Field in Division III, because they're on the other side. You could make that argument. The majority of the really tough teams are on the other side of the bracket. River Rouge and King play this week, so one of them will be gone. And Walled Lake Western is on the other side, too, another good team. It's really Zeeland West again that might be their biggest hurdle if they face them a couple weeks down the road.
And they were in the rankings to start the season. Yeah. I think I dropped them out in week, I think it was after the De La Salle game. So they were out of it for about 4 or 5 weeks and then make their way back in. And this is a Muskegon team that doesn't have the high wattage recruits that they normally have. It's a team that's flying a little bit more under the radar. But Makai Guy is a little guy at quarterback, but he plays really big.
Yeah, so you can see all of our top rankings right here on your screen, or if you go to statechampsnetwork.com, that is our final top 20 of the regular season. So crazy that we're already in the playoffs.
No doubt. All right, you know what time it is. Mr. Football Talk presented by Hungry Howlers. And this guy can be my wingman anytime. Call sign, Habs man. And those in the know, no. Because you know what? We've got the need. The need for speed. Woo! Mr. Football Talk, Sean Valesian here. And Sean, let me tell you, this is the most exciting time of the year. And when you break down this competition and you look at the stats up and down, because by the way, we have frozen our top 10 candidates, so nobody else is going to get into the race, but who else would you put in? The numbers, when you look at it throughout, are outstanding. It is going to be a burden to choose just the Final Four, let alone the champion.
Well, this is what it's all about. And Lauren, you know what? It's never easy to whittle this down to the point where we have to freeze it, but we feel really good about this group. And all you have to do is do a little research at home, dig deep, and look at some of these numbers. I don't know how you could deny any one of these guys. And here's the beautiful thing. You have an opportunity right now, to make your case on the biggest stage. This is a big part of our criteria. We talk about it every year. What did you do in those big games? This is where somebody can earn their name on this trophy, and I can't wait for it to start.
And the voting, Sean, in this competition has been off the charts, kind of like Top Gun Maverick at the box office this summer. I mean, it has been insane. Samaj Morgan, at the time of recording this, had a little over 38,000 votes. Cole Cabana had 36,000 votes. A lot of other guys, with a lot of votes in between. So the community is coming out. And again, we need them to continue to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. You get a chance to put your guy in the Final Four. That makes a difference. That makes a big difference. And one of the cool things that we do, in case you're new to this, We will literally videotape us having the conversations about the Final Four and trying to whittle it down. And that is huge in regards to our criteria.
Maybe we'll all come as like, we'll kind of craft a Navy warship and we'll all just be Top Gun style for the Mr. Football vote. Who knows? Bottom line is we will end the vote after regionals, so we'll get you more information on that. But in the meantime, you got a couple more weeks to vote. Big games this weekend, big implications in the Mr. Football race. We'll talk about it next week.
We're going to take a quick break and check out this week's Game Changer from our friends at DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine.
Hi, I'm Laura Ramus with DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. And today on Game Changers, we're going to show you the 3 keys to a successful off-season training program. The end of the school year or the end of your competitive season marks an important time frame, your off-season. A lot of times this can be a short period of time, but this is a time that you can either gain or lose ground on your competition. Here are the 3 keys for a successful off-season training program. Number 1, start with a goal. Before beginning any training, you must first have a clear plan of attack that gives you the best opportunity for success. Each sport has its own unique demands for strength, speed, and endurance. Training should mirror the conditions you will be experiencing during your sport. For example, off-season training for a football athlete will be much different for that of a volleyball athlete. And even within those sports, positions will be different. For example, a quarterback will train different than a lineman. A libero in volleyball will train different than a setter. Number 2, master the basics. Performance training has a strict hierarchy you must follow to prevent injury and optimize long-term development. Just like infants first learn to crawl before they can walk, athletes must master the basics before they move into more complex exercises. For example, learn how to squat before you work on plyometrics in jump training. Number 3, avoid injury. Often overlooked in the off-season training program is the number 1 goal of any training: keeping yourself on the field and not injured. You're no use to your team if you're injured, regardless how fast or strong you are. So first of all, think about the previous injuries you've had in other seasons. Work on things to help prevent those. Secondly, learn what the most common injuries are in the sport that you play and train to prevent those injuries.
Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Then go where the pros go. DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. For immediate care, call 313-910-9328 or visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Entering its 26th year of excellence, applications are being accepted right now for the Detroit Athletic Club Foundation's Michigan Male and Female High School Athlete of the Year Awards. Not everyone qualifies, so listen closely. If you are a recognized first-team All-State athlete in a sport or projected to be one this school year, if you have at least a cumulative 3.0 GPA, and if you have demonstrated leadership through the school or as a community volunteer, we want you to apply. 6 male and 6 female student athletes will be nominated, with each being awarded $1,000 of college scholarship money. The winners will receive $5,000 each. The 26th Michigan High School Athlete of the Year Awards will take place at the incredible Detroit Athletic Club in downtown Detroit the evening of Monday, June 5th, and streamed live on the State Champs Sports Network. Nomination applications will be accepted through Monday, March 6th, and this is important. You cannot be nominated if you don't apply. Download the application today at dacathleteoftheyear.com. That's dacathleteoftheyear.com.
All right, let's get into some Anvil talk presented by Hungry Howie's. A man who always hates it when I buzz the tower, but he is the Colonel himself, Tim Beckler, here as we get into some Anvil conversation. And Coach, it's great to have you here again. We missed you last week, but I know you had a great time in Florida. So, yeah, I'm sure, right?
A little bit of golf, yes, sir.
Good for you. You deserve it. Hey, guys, we're freezing the top 10. We talked about it in the Mr. Football segment. Same thing. Freezing the top 10. We're now, what we call the second season here, which is the postseason. Critical time. If you follow our criteria, how we choose the winners of our awards, well, you know that, big game performance, nothing bigger than the playoffs. That's 15% of the vote. Team success, that's 10% of the vote. So that's 25% of the vote that really is going to be factored in. Granted, there's big games throughout the season. The main reason why we have performance throughout the season is 30%, because that kind of covers the whole thing. But these are the big games. These are the ones that really matter, and these are the ones where we see if our guys are able to help their team get to the next level and hopefully advance to where they want to be, and that is in the state championship game. So next few weeks especially are critical, and we've got some guys that are going to be going head-to-head very soon. In fact, this week.
Yeah, we have some big matchups in store. In Division I, we've got Amir Herring, Brandon Davis Swain, and West Bloomfield going head-to-head with Jalen Thompson and Cass Tech. That's a huge game with maybe even bigger implications for the Anvil race.
I know, and when you think about it, and you participated in some of these, and some people complain like, oh, these are two teams that should be meeting later in the season, whatever, but here they are in week 1 of the playoffs. My whole thing is, hey, you're going to have to play them sometime, right? Why not when the weather's still halfway decent? And but we do have two Goliaths going at it.
Yeah, very good point. And you do want to see your better teams go on, but you're exactly right. You're going to have to play them anyway. You might as well get it on.
Right. Next week we might have another Anvil Award head-to-head.
In Division 4, it's very possible we could see in a district championship featuring Jeremiah Elson Jackson and undefeated Redford Union versus our previous leading vote getter, Dylan Senda, and currently 7-2 Divine Child. Senda was a couple thousand votes behind Kavanaugh Dighton, whose fan base just blew up the vote. Dighton is now the leading vote getter now.
His community has come out, the Clarkson community has come out huge for him, 10,000 votes in a week for that young man. So, he's taken over the vote lead. So, big matchup. They're going to settle it on the field probably next week again if things play out where you have Redford Union and Dearborn Divine Child in Division 4 playing for some district hardware next week. So we need to let you guys know that the voting is going to end the Monday after regional. So that's November 14th, and we'll have another Anvil update next week.
Well, week 1 of the playoffs is coming up in just a few days, believe it or not, and we're going to see all 20 of our top teams in the rankings play this Friday, and we're going to be out to a lot of teams that we haven't seen all season. So right now we're going to preview some of the games we're going to be covering, sponsored by Menards, and you can see on your screen right now a ton of games that we're going to have. We're going to be all over the state as per usual. One of the games that is huge, that is going to be the game of the week, our Bally game of the week, sponsored by Southeast Michigan Ford Dealers. Cass Tech at West Bloomfield.
If I'm West Bloomfield right now, I don't love this selection. I know that it was a 3-way tie for the OA Red, but they're the OA Red champions, and they get a superpower. Now, granted, a superpower that needed to push into the playoffs at the last second, but Cass Tech is Cass Tech, and if you're West Bloomfield, I think you were hoping that you would meet a team of that caliber. District finals, regional finals.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it's interesting. Cass Tech and West Bloomfield have only met once, and that was in 2017. And if you remember, it was kind of a stinker. It was the state semifinals. Lakers won 9-7.
Makari Page, Michigan defensive back, picked off Cass Tech in the final 15 seconds. Cass Tech looked like it was going in to score the game-winning touchdown in the final seconds, and that was really Makari Page's coming out party. Nobody knew who he really was before that. Now he's at the University of Michigan.
I stopped at West Bloomfield's practice on Tuesday, and they are very hungry to continue on and make it to Ford Field. I mean, a lot of them got a taste of it 2 years ago, but they were sophomores then. Sure. So some of them
were freshmen.
Yeah, some of them were freshmen. So they were young. They were the underclassmen. So the seniors this year, Samaj Morgan, Amir Herring, they were telling me, we want to be that team to leave behind a legacy. We want to be the team that did it when they were there, those seniors, they want to be those seniors this year. What better game than to have that as our game of the week?
To me, can I just give a little insight into a kind of a game within a game here that I'm interested in tracking? So LaShawn Mumfield, CJ Sadler, their offense is playing really well right now, but West Bloomfield has a lot, in addition to their up front pass rush, Brandon Davis-Swain, they have a excellent linebacking core. 3 guys that will all play at the college level. They're all juniors. Montel Johnson, Rock Harris, and Kari Jackson.
Who's coming back?
Right. Yeah. Kari Jackson will be healthy for the playoffs.
Right.
So, that's going to be a really interesting matchup, how those linebackers, not just rushing the passer, but these are all very quick-footed linebackers that are great in coverage. So we'll see how that plays. And then Cass Tech, we're talking about coverage linebackers. Cass Tech has arguably the best tight end in the state, in Kamari Anderson.
Yeah.
And, it really helps if you're West Bloomfield. You got some linebackers that can keep him in check.
Yeah. It is going to be wild, and you can catch that game on Bally Sports Detroit Extra. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. Lauren will carry the way after that for the overtime show.
I'm predicting West Bloomfield to win this game. It's going to be very, very close. I think I do predictions for a local outlet for specific games.
Oakland Press, you can say
Yeah,
it. It's
Oakland
fine.
Press. I think
Okay, yeah.
I predicted 31-28, I believe, West Bloomfield.
That sounds like a great game.
Well, that'll lead us right into our predictions. And as we know, it's 5 wins to win a state title. And to get that first win, that starts this week. Sponsored by Lawrence Tech. So, Lauren.
So we're going to start with 8-player. Division I, Division II. Again, these are just really quick predictions. When you look at, especially at 8-player, it's insane because every team scores like 55 points. The teams are like 9-0 and things. But in Division I, for me, I'm going to take Munising. I am going to take Munising in Division I, even though I know that Adrian Lenawee Christian is the back-to-back state champs, but they've had some losses this year. Division II, I'm going to go with the current state champ, and that is Powers North Central. They have been powering through 8-player football this season.
I concur with that.
Okay, easy enough. There we go. So heading to Division 8
Yes.
for the, I would say I pick Ubley. I don't normally pick, but I covered them a few times when I worked at ABC 12. So, Lauren, who do you have for Division 8?
All right, so I'm going Ottawa Lake Whiteford on this one to win Division 8. They've won the state championship in years past, and they are also a team that they're right on the Ohio border. I mean, a stone's throw is where Ottawa Lake Whiteford is, but always a great program. They bring in always a strong running game.
I'm going to pick Beale City. I would normally pick Ottawa Lake Whiteford, but Bernie unfortunately had his high school athletic career come to an end at Ottawa Lake Whiteford back in 1996 in a baseball regional.
So you can't go there.
I can't go there.
Okay.
All right, well, where we can go is Division 7 now. We've got a couple of top-notch schools there. I'm actually going to predict on this one, too. I'm going to pick Ithaca because I also covered them. Hesbrook family, shout out to you guys. They're always so kind to me, so I'm rooting for Ithaca in this one.
I'm going Gladiators, Traverse City, St. Francis. They have had an unbelievable season. They played probably the best competition of the teams that are in Division 7, in my opinion. A lot of teams that are in upper divisions, and I'm going TCSF.
I'm going St. Francis. I love their quarterback. I love 2 sports stars. Great point guard on the basketball floor. Great quarterback. TC Francis.
Yeah, now that'll bring us to Division 6. Lauren, Maverick, who do you got?
I got Grand Rapids West Catholic in Division 6. This is an interesting division if you look at it, but West Catholic has played consistent, good football. They're a team that knows how to win championships.
Who you got, Scott?
I will throw out Michigan Collegiate. Made it to the finals last year. I think they get the job done this year.
And now in Division 5, powering through here.
This should not be. This should be everybody's prediction because until they lose, they're the state champs, and that is Grand Rapids Catholic Central. They've lost to one team, and that was Grand Rapids South Christian, and they're in Division 4, so they don't have to play them. Grand Rapids Catholic Central will be the state champ. I would be stunned if otherwise.
Yeah, they know how to get it
Bulletin
done.
board material for you there, you D-fivers.
Yeah, GRCC, I mean, what they do every year. I mean, last year, no Joey football, no problem.
Yeah.
This year, same thing.
And that brings us right into Division 4.
Grand Rapids South Christian. I think South Christian will win Division 4. I think that they have played. If you've watched the game against Grand Rapids Catholic Central, it was incredible, back and forth. The resiliency of this team, I think, is going to take them all the way.
Grand Rapids team's really getting some love here in this portion of our show.
And this is not unusual when we've had years where Grand Rapids teams have won the majority of state championships at Fort Field.
Yeah, I'll go South Christian as well.
A lot of talent on the west side of the state, as we've been seeing all season long. So now in Division 3.
Division 3, it's hard for me not to go against the King. The reigning state champs, Detroit Martin Luther King, I think is going to find a way to roll again. It's so hard to judge, like Cass-Tech, so hard to judge a team that has had, a number of games against very inferior opponents. They played some really good teams, not always won, but it's all about being ready for the postseason. I think they're ready. Dante Moore, the defending Mr. Football champ, I think is got that chip back on his shoulder because people are doubters. Crusaders.
Yeah, I'm excited for that game, though, that they're going to play River Rouge. So that's going to be a good one.
Huge game.
Yeah, very big game.
Who you got, Scott?
Dante Moore is going to end his career with a state championship, go to Oregon with a couple rings. I would love to see Cass and King play better competition week to week in the regular season. It just doesn't happen. But hats off to King and Cass for going out of state, testing themselves. It's too much firepower.
Yeah.
King.
Well, that leads us to Division 2. This is a kind of a stacked division. Who do you got in this one?
Another clear-cut champion for me, Warren De La Salle.
Okay.
I don't see anybody taking down the Pilots despite that aberration that was the Brother Rice game. Other than that, these guys have come to play. Tristan Nichols is not available, which will hurt them. But Brady Drogosh, look at what he's done. He's probably the most underrated Mr. Football candidate because we haven't talked enough about the Cincinnati-bound.
The Cincinnati Kid.
But he has been just the
winner.
epitome of consistency.
Just a winner.
Winner. Incredible stats. He gets it done. And they find a way. Dan Roan, one of the best coaches in football.
He's going for that third ring. He has one in football, one in basketball. Played a pretty significant role off the bench on the basketball team last year. And then he can win a fourth ring in this winter with the basketball team. I'm going to go with De La Salle. They are a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and there's no Traverse City Central this year, who's got, a wild card in what they had there. So no.
Yeah, well, that leads us right into Division 1.
Okay.
Anything could happen in this division. I know we've said all season, any given Friday. Well, I think this division, there's a lot of tough paths to the finals, and anything can happen. So I'm going to throw a curveball here, Scott. We're going to start with you.
Well, I'm going to go with my most under-the-radar Mr. Football candidate to take his team to a state championship. Parker Pico, Rochester Adams Highlanders are to get the job done in 2022 that they couldn't get down in 21.
They're on the good side of things as far as where they are.
So no disrespect to
They'll have to get through Clarkson or Davison.
Right. No disrespect to Belleville. I think Parker Pico is on a mission. Over 1,000 yards passing, over 1,000 yards rushing. Such a leader, such a playmaker, force of nature of an athlete. And they have other playmakers, Rocco Orsini leading the defense. So that's a bold prediction. I'm going to stand by it.
Oh, we love that.
Yeah.
Lauren.
I'm making a bold prediction. I'm going bottom of the bracket, Macomb, Dakota. They got to get through the MAC Red again. Just let me tell you, I think it is the year of the Cougars. So that is where...
Ethan Hamby, you heard that, bro. Yeah. Do Lauren proud.
There you go.
We've got some bold predictions here, and we'll shake it all out next week when we see what happens Friday night. And like we said, the game of the week is West Bloomfield, Cass-Tech. That's going to be a good one. And you can catch all of our other games on Overtime, powered by State Champs, right after our Game of the Week show. And that is also on Valley Sports Extra, and you can catch it on our YouTube channel as well.
That's right.
State Champs Network.
.com. Stream it live. This is Maverick. Out.
State Champs Extra Point is powered by Lawrence Technological University. Visit L2athletics.com and recruit yourself. Extra Point is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, a proud partner of the MHSAA. The Detroit Medical Center Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine Pros, Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Nominations are being accepted now for the Detroit Athletic Club Foundation's Michigan High School Athlete of the Year Awards. 6 females and 6 males will win a $1,000 college scholarship and be invited to the DAC in downtown Detroit on June 5th, 2023 to find out who will be this year's Athlete of the Year. Seniors only, and you can't be nominated if you don't apply. Find out more and download the application at dacathleteoftheyear.com. Alti Equipment Company, Michigan's #1 construction equipment provider with over 40 brands. Get the right equipment for your project every time. Hungry Howie's Pizza, famous for flavor. Feiger Law, nobody knows the law like we do. Menards, save big money on all your home improvement needs. And by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers, think Ford first.